Hello, everybody, and welcome to the top 5 new comics for January 18th and 19th of 2022. I'm, as always, Chris. Remember, everybody, to hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and comment with what you are looking forward to this week as well. Enough with that. Let's get into some books, starting with Batman, The Knight, #1. This is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Art-Carmine Di Giandomenico. So anyone that knows me or my brand, whatever you want to call it, knows I'm not a big fan of origin stories, specifically Batman's origin story. That being said, one of my top 5 is a Batman origin story book. And with that aside, what makes me excited about this book is Chip Zdarsky. Anything Chip writes, anything Chip does, I'm in. I'm checking out. He's one of my favorite writers around right now, one of my favorite artists around. He's just, as a comic creator, at the top of his game in every way. So I will check anything out the man does. And also, it's not Chip retelling the go see Zorro, parents get shot. Oh my God, my parents are dead. I'll avenge them. He's taking a moment after that. I'm sure in this first issue we'll see that moment and I will gag at it because it's just, we don't need that moment anymore. We get it. But he's going to tell a 10-issue series about what happens after that. As Bruce grows up and becomes a man, as Bruce goes to these different schools and tries to learn, trains as a young adult to fight crime and do all these things, and the hijinks that ensue during that. There's moments before he becomes Batman that you can explore that have been explored in the past, but aren't what people normally explore. People usually either explore, my parents are dead, I'll avenge them, bats fly through the wall, and I'm going to tell that in my own unique way. Or they try to retell Frank Miller's Year One. Those are the two extremes we see with Batman all the time. And this seems to be doing something a little bit different, trying to tell the in-between time, the in-between story. So I'm excited to check it out. It's got one of my favorite writers. The art looks phenomenal in the book. Let's see what this is. After that, we got Silver Surfer Rebirth #1. This is written by Ron Marz with art by Ron Lim. This has been something that Marvel's been doing a lot over the past 5-10 years maybe, and I personally am a fan of it. It's, let's take the creators that made these characters great back in the day and let them tell a new story inside of our current universe. And Peter David has been doing it he's been making a living doing it for the past however many years. And although Ron, Marz and Lim have been doing comics on their own throughout the years, it's still nice to see them come back and do some Silver Surfer stuff. And not only that, but we get the original Captain Marvel, Captain Marvel, coming back. Thanos is involved. What's not to like? It's got a lot of stuff that I enjoy here. So I think this will be fun. I think it'll be cool. And hopefully it's really good as well. After that, going from the past to the future, we got Hulk #3. This is written by Donny Cates with art by Ryan Ottley. Talked about Chip before. Now I'll talk about Donny, my other favorite writer of the current day. The past 2 issues of Hulk have been phenomenal. I'm really loving it. Ottley's art is just a perfect fit for what they're doing with Hulk. And hey, you know who's coming back for this story? It looks like Wolverine's coming back. So let's do that whole butting heads that we all know well. We're leading to something really great here. We're doing Hulk in space, and it's not Planet Hulk. There's a lot of things here that I'm really, really enjoying. So I really recommend Hulk. Like I said with Chip, if Donnie's name's on it, I recommend it. It's probably really well done. I can't think of anything he's done that I didn't enjoy at the very least. So Really looking forward to Hulk. I don't think there's a whole lot to say about that one outside of that. Now, after that, we got Animal Castle number 2. This is brought to you by Ablaze Comics and written by Xavier Dorison with art by Art-Felix Delep. Can't remember if I did Animal Castle number 1 on this top 5 or not, but I feel like I did. This is basically a pseudo sequel to Animal Farm. The first issue really set up where we are. We now, all the animals are in this castle, and we see the hierarchy of how they have laid themselves out and where the problems are. The peasant animals, starving and having to sacrifice, while the upper class. It's that whole analogy for everything the Animal Farm was back in the day. But we end that first issue with a revolution, a revolt, if you will. And I thought the first issue was really well done. The art was phenomenal. The way the story was told is great. I love our lead character, this kind of stray cat, who's a single mom trying to feed her kittens with her friend Mother Goose, and all these great things going on. And just the way it ended with that moment we had that I don't want to spoil, because I really hope everyone goes back and reads Animal Castle number 1. It seems like a lot of you did, because it did sell out, which is awesome. But where that first issue ended with that moment really stuck with me as far as a moment in a comic, because in one issue we grew to love these main characters and love who they were, and hate the world that they're building with this kind of authoritarian regime inside this castle. And then something happens that just immediately puts a dagger in your heart. Something that would take a lot of comics volumes and years to build to. It did in one issue, which tells me great storytelling, great art, and hopefully they can keep this going for much longer. Really love the first Animal Castle. Really hope everybody checks out Animal Castle number 2. And it's from a very small publisher, so I'm really happy that they've got some sort of hit here, because small publishers take chances on good books, or on at least experimental books. I like it when they're rewarded, so good for them here. And we are going to end with Primordial number 5. It's written by Jeff Lemire with art by Art-Andrea Sorrentino. I've done every issue of this on this top 5. So you all are probably sick of listening to me talk about this book, but really good book. Alternate timeline about the space race in the 60s, and what if we abandon it in the 50s, all this stuff, and kind of the parallel dimensions that are created based on events that both the US and the Soviets did. Really well done. Sorrentino's art is phenomenal. He's just on top of his game in every way. I really love what he's doing. Been loving him for a long time, but I just think between this and the Batman book he just did, the dude just took it up another notch. And good for him. Good for Jeff. They got a great book here. And really, really enjoying it. If you guys really want to know how I feel more and more, there's 4 other times where I gush about it. So you can go back there. That's it. That's our top 5. So remember, everybody, to check out the podcast, Fortress Comic News. Every week we talk to a new comic creator. And those interviews are also up on this YouTube channel as well. If you don't want to listen to the podcast, you prefer video, they're there. So check those out. Check out the podcast. And thank you so much for watching this week. I'll see you all here next week.